Hello, 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 everyone. Hi. यार आवाज़ नहीं आ रहा ठीक से। अब देख, अब क्लियर है आई गेस एकदम। ए, तो यहाँ पे किस किस को रिवर्स इंजीनियरिंग के बारे में मतलब कुछ तो आइडिया होगा आई गेस। मतलब प्लीज़ कमेंट आउट, कमेंट सेक्शन में बताओ लाइक व्हाट इज रिवर्स इंजीनियरिंग। मुझे देखना है कि लाइक कितने लोगों को पता है एग्जैक्टली क्या है एंड हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू ऑल नो दी बेसिक्स एंड ऑल। वॉइस इज फुल यार। सेकंड, एक सेकंड, एक सेकंड। आई थिंक दिस शुड बी क्लियर नो मैटर वाओ। Is it clear now? Is it clear? Okay, yeah. Okay, one guy said, safe secured it. Reverse engineering is a technique that can be used to check the internal files of application. Yes, almost correct. हाँ, तो reverse engineering ये जो term जो होता है, we use it to reverse engineer a particular software which can be used to find the loopholes in it, और हम लोग बेसिकली मॉडिंग वगैरह में कर सकते हैं यूज। ठीक है, तो रिवर्स इंजीनियरिंग बस उसका टर्म ही होता है वैसे कि we take the application, we reverse engineer it and then we try to find the loopholes. ओके, बेसिकली जो मॉडिंग के जो सॉफ्टवेयर आते हैं, क्रैकिंग के जो सॉफ्टवेयर आते हैं, तो बेसिकली वो जो प्रोसेस जो होता है तो उसी को हम लोग बोलते हैं रिवर्स इंजीनियरिंग इन शॉर्ट। ठीक है, इज दैट क्लियर? तो नाउ आई एम हैविंग बाइनरी ओके ओवर हियर। ठीक है, एक मेन 01 नाम की एक बाइनरी है, और basically when I try to run this binary we get the prompt saying that enter password. Okay, now we're going to crack this binary and find the actual password or whatever the thing is that inside that binary. So now if now we don't know right what is the password, so we can just add random value, and now we can say that failed, that means the password was wrong, right? So now we need to find the actual password. So today in this video we're going to see how we can reverse this binary and find the actual password, or we can say like the actual code of that particular binary. So for that there are some tools which are required. I'll discuss that tools. Did you all understand till this part what is today's agenda and what we are going to do today? Is it clear? Comment it out that it's clear. जस्ट कमेंट कर दो यार, अगर समझ में आया, अगर नहीं समझ में आया तो चैट कर सकते हैं, आप लोग बोल सकते हैं. Okay, so Melekar is asking what is binary exactly. Okay, to be like very this binary is an ELF format binary. Okay, I'll just open my Blackboard if it's possible. Digital Blackboard, data online Blackboard. Okay, just for you all guys, those who don't know, like what are the binaries and like how we like how we categorize them. Okay, so this is I cannot see my pointer exactly. Okay, so assume there is a machine of Linux, the other one is of Windows. Okay, Windows which you use, right? We all use Windows, a host operating system. So there are two categories mainly in the form of binary, or we can say many other stuffs. So in Windows we all know the formats called as .exe, right? Have you heard about this? Mostly, right? So .exe, and then there are other such stuffs called as PS1. So basically the PowerShell script, right? PowerShell scripts, and then .exe, which are executable. Okay, so these kind of files are mostly present in Windows. Okay, these current types of files, this type of files you will find it in Windows. And for an example, there are the files called as .dll, right? And then .lib, and there are many other stuffs. But in Linux there are some other kind of stuffs. For exe in Linux will be .l file, .l file structure. So basically the working will be same, right? Yeah, even MSI, which is the Microsoft script installers and all, right? The installer prompt we get now, like whenever we try to install a new software. Yes, correct. Safe secured, yeah. So MSI, and there are many other stuffs. But in Linux, there are many other files. Okay, but today we're going to focus on ELF file structure. So ELFs are like Linux file system based file structures. It is as similar as Windows, in which we call it as an exe. So basically it is as same as exe, but it runs with a different structure format, the ELF file. Okay, so in Linux we call it as .elf, and in Windows we call it as .exe. Did you got Som? In Linux we call it as ELF file structure, and in Windows there are many other structures. So ELF is the like the base of it. Okay, I hope y'all are getting it. It's the basic part, basic one, right? Okay. Now today we'll going to focus on the Linux only. Okay, because it is very much easy to do reverse engineering on it, and we can easily try to yes, does it have a GUI? Like in the sense, yes, it also have the GUI. It depends upon like in which language we are trying to program it. Okay, so there are two modes. First one is called as CLI mode, and the second one is called as GUI mode, which you told, right? So in Windows, most of the work is done by GUI modes like the prompt and all, and in Linux, like you know, the developers and the tech geeks which use mostly CLI because it is very fast, and there are not more resources used, okay, for forming that files and all. Okay, nice. Okay. In CLI mode, it can be also used in both the ways, in CLI mode and GUI mode also. Okay, so today we'll going to focus on a Linux file structure, or we'll take a Linux file which I've created a password cracking program. And even if we get time, we'll try to focus on Windows also, and we'll try to crack this kind of axis. Okay, yeah. Um, I'll come to my okay. So are you all ready to see how we can crack this password and get the success message print out over here? You all got what I said till now? Let's go. Okay, fine. Thanks. Okay. Now there are many tools which we used in the when the term comes reverse engineering, right? So I have some list of tools over here. I'll open in the web browser. We'll get back to this x64 and list of registers. Okay. So there are many tools. So the main tool which we're going to use is that GDB, which is called as GNU debugger. Live city of Kanna, please. Okay, bro. Sure, sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like in by like don't bring a top file. Okay, make it at least simple to medium. Don't bring a very tough file. Okay, yeah. So I was तो मैं डिस्कस कर रहा था अबाउट टाइप्स ऑफ जो टूल्स आते हैं ना, तो सबसे मेन होता है GNU GDB. So if we go over here, we can see it is a GNU debugger. It is a portable debugger that runs on many unique systems like and works for many programming languages including blah 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 C++ and many other stuffs. Okay, so this is a debugger which is used to debug this kind of files, Linux files. Okay, so what we can do is that this is a just one thing, guys. Are you all familiar with Linux terminal, CLI mode? Anyone mode? Anyone has used the shell, this shell over here? Like we type the commands, right? Yes, so yes, so there is a tool, or we can say a command which is called as GDB. Okay, so if you type GDB over here and if we hit enter, we can see the GDB Ubuntu 2021. So basically, this is pre-installed in most of the softwares. Oh, sorry, not softwares. Most of the operating system which are based on Linux utilities. Okay, and if you have and if you type this and you don't get this GDB, what you can do is that you can just type sudo apt install GDB. Okay, so if you hit enter, it will going to download the GDB into your system, your particular Linux machine, right? So this is the UI of the GDB. But thing is that what's the performance in Flare on? Bro, actually, I participate in Flare VM that challenges, but I didn't, and it did got very well. So like, then I left playing that challenges, the Flare VM challenges, right? Yeah, I didn't gone through the challenges over there, but I solved first three challenges, I guess. Not much, but yeah. Okay, this is the UI of the GDP. But this UI is very simple, right? We are not able to like do something multitasking stuffs using this GNU debugger. I can show you to run this. You can type GDB and then the name of the program which you want to debug or which you want to crack. Okay, so in my case it is main01. Okay, so I'll say main01 over here and hit enter. So now you can see it has read the symbols from the particular files, some technical stuffs. Okay, I'll come back to it. And now there are many list of commands which you need to know. Okay, there are some commands called as info functions. So this will going to list all the functions present in the particular binary. Till here, anyone has any doubts? clear? Any doubts? Any doubts? If you're having, then please comment it out. Waiting. Doubts? Okay. So now, so as we can see, there are many functions. So in a particular code, or we can say in a particular program, there are many functions present in it. But the main function is the main one, which we use to execute the program execution, right? And it is also known as the driver code from which the execution of the program gets start. If we have option one to choose GDB or Gidra. See, Gidra is one different tool. I'll come on it also, okay? And GDB is a different tool. So GDB is used in debugging the dynamic analysis, mostly the dynamic part. And in Gidra, we use it for static analysis, okay? To see the actual source code of that particular binary. We use Gidra or other tools like IDA Pro, Binary Ninja, maybe, or some other stuffs. But GDB is used to debug during the runtime. Means whenever this particular program will going to execute, will going to debug this program during the runtime. Okay, so that's the difference. So currently I'm showing you all how to debug it during runtime and how we can crack the password, and then we'll come back to Kizra and I'll going to show you all how we can even statically find the exact password so that we can crack it. Okay, so these are basically the so this is the so these are the address segments over here. Okay, so this is address in that particular memory, and these are the corresponding functions. So putf, printf, iso, scanf. Okay, and are you all familiar with the programming, C programming in chat? Anyone? Are you all familiar with the programming? Mostly I recommend for C and C++. Anyone? By using GDB, we are trying to achieve the actual password. So basically, whenever this, so what I will trying to do is that now, okay, so now what we're going to do is that, so what is GDB actually, okay? So GDB is an runtime debugger. So during the runtime of the code, so whenever we try to run that particular L file, right? So whenever we try to run it in the real time, whenever we try to run that particular Elf file in the real time, we can debug it. We can debug it using GDB, and we can see the actual contents of that particular file during the runtime whenever the program is being in running process. Okay, so this is the part of GDB. So we are trying to achieve today is that we are trying to find the password hidden inside that particular runtime binary and extract the password, and then we can get the access to that particular L file, or we can get the success output. Okay, but in Gidra, we can analyze the L file statically. Okay, statically in the sense we do not double click and run this L file. We do not run this L file. We just try to import this L file into a tool called Gidra, and then we see the actual source code. Okay, the source code, the code. We do not run it. So in Github we do not do an dynamic analysis. We just do static analysis, which is we try to examine the actual code or the actual file. We try to analyze that file. But in GDB, yeah, so in GDB, we try to debug it during the runtime. So whenever the program is getting runtime, okay, at that time we'll at that time we try to examine the particular password or the particular source code. Okay, right. Actually the password can be retrieved in both the ways. Okay, the thing is that I'm showing it using GDB is that it is a bit easier, and this is also easier step, so I'm going with GDB at first. Any comments? Sir, Wi-Fi hacking का बताओ. Yeah, in for the upcoming videos we'll definitely do that, and we're going to discuss about that also, about Wi-Fi hacking, like how can we de-authenticate the packets and then get the handshake file, and then we can try to hash cut it and crack the password. It's a very large topic, bro. Yeah, we'll discuss it in upcoming videos, in wireless pen testing maybe. Yeah. So is this clear? In comments, guys, is this clear? Clear है guys, सबको सबको? What is difference between this and this? Withdraw and JDB. Okay. Yeah. It can be done using uh, the authentication and stuffs, but it's possible to do with Android. Yeah, it is possible if you can root your phone using NetHunter stuffs and all. Okay, we'll talk about it later. Now we'll do this kind of stuffs. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Now so as we can see over here, there is one function called as main, right? Can everyone see this, right? The main function over here. So this function can be so can anyone just comment out like what will this function contain? What is what does this function contains? Main function. Just type it out simply. It's a very easy stuff. If you all know the programming basics and all. So safe security card, yeah. अरे भाई करेंगे ऑन यार, रुक जा यार, थोड़ा तो होने दे एक बार. फेस कैम भी ऑन करेंगे. So anyone who can tell me what does this main function consist? Starting point and the call says perfect song. The main function is the function from which the execution of the code starts. मतलब जब भी हम लोग ये बाइनरी को लाइक डॉट स्लैश मार के हम लोग इसको रन करवाते हैं, तभी from that point the execution of the code starts from this main functions. Before that there are many other calls which are made. Okay, like पहले like we go to start function and then we invoke the libc start main call and then we jump to main function. Okay, let it go. Yeah, so then it points to the main function. Okay, right? Okay, now how can we see the actual code of the main function? So there is a command called as disassembly main. Okay, so there is a command called as disassembly main. Okay, I'll just try to minimize this. So now we can see this everything is then assembly instructions. Okay, yeah, so these are everything in assembly instructions, and these are some sort of called as registers, and these are some sort of called as instructions or opcodes basically. Okay, now we can see like it is very jumbled, right? So we cannot properly visualize it like how the stuffs are going on. So this syntax is in a different syntax format over here. So we can change the syntax for better view. We can set it to set this assembly flavor to Intel, and then we try to do it again disassemble main. Okay. Now we can see some calls over here, right? Push RBP, move RBP, RSP. So can anyone tell me like what is this push doing? Can anyone in chat section, guys? Anyone? GF is side up, bro. It was good one, good one. I will focus here. Um, anyone? What is push instruction? Anyone? If you all have any ideas, what are these? Move, sub, LEA, call, CMP. Basically these are opcodes, okay, or we can say the instructions. So there are many instructions available. So there are into memory insert, yeah, almost. um, there are many segments of the memory, okay. So there is 32 bits and 64 bit registers, okay. So now what are registers? I'll discuss it over here. Now we'll learn what are registers. Can anyone tell me in chat section what are registers? What are registers, guys? Anyone? Don't Google it out. If you all know, just tell, or else I'll explain it. What are registers? No? ठीक है. So registers are an temporary storage, or we can say storage, okay. So basically these are temporary storages in which we store the values of the particular memory or some data which is used to store. Register gives powers, yeah, almost in the sense we can say, but there are a different term in electrical engineering and computer science, okay. So in electrical we get that, this, so Ohm's law and then stuffs and all. So we are not talking about this register, we are talking about this CPU registers, okay. Yeah. So we are not talking about this, we are talking about the CPU registers. So there are many sorts of registers depending upon the architecture of the CPU, okay. So this is the, you can say, the CPU, right? Okay, yeah. um, so there are many forms of CPU, right? So there are like 32 bit and 64 bit. So most of you have used or don't, I don't know if you have used the 32 bit computers and PCs and all, which in which we used to run Windows 7 only. But in 64 bit we can run like almost everything. Like 32 bit is like a bit slower, and 64 bit is a bit faster. I'll tell you why. So today we're going to decode it, why it is like, what are the difference exactly. So there are temporary storage are divided into many parts. So main is 32 bit and 64 bit, okay. So there are 32 bit and 64 bit, okay. 32 bit and 64 bit registers we'll discuss now. So before that, I'll move on your to an website, um, over here, learnmicrosoft.com, or you all can just type list of registers of 32 bit and 64 bit. So in the context of registers over here, you can see there are even some other registers which are present over here, right? Is it visible? Okay, fine. Now in the context of this, there are also visible lower 8-bit registers, lower 16-bit registers, lower 32-bit, means these are actual 32-bit registers, and 64-bit registers. So now till EDI, or we can say till this part, these are all called as general purpose registers, okay. So these registers are used to do some mathematical calculations and storing data, okay. And it is also used in general purposing, like moving some data into some part of memory, and like throwing and catching some data from one segment to other segment, stack segments and all. So these kind of registers are used, okay. So now in 32-bit machines and in 32-bit programs, so basically there are two types of programs, right? Have you all heard about it? 32-bit programs and 64-bit programs. Have you heard about it? There are two types of programs or applications. Yes or no? 32-bit and 64-bit. So can anyone give me example of a 64-bit program, or we can say a 64 bit application, anything. We are using it in a day-to-day life. Just tell me the example of 64 bit. Yes, tell me the example of an 64 bit application or any kind of program which one. Comment करो guys, comment करो. Don't know. Or at least give me an example of a 32 bit program which we use in day-to-day life. So I think nobody knows. Okay, 64 bit has much faster and as powerful registers might be. Yeah, the thing is the same, but my question was, any name any programs or applications which are running on 64 bit. So the answer was the applications, for an example, like your game, like Valorant .exe, then your PUBG, and then many other games, and even your Discord, your Chrome browser. So these are all example of an 64-bit program. So they run on 64-bit mechanism. So okay, and 32-bit example is like the games which were older version, right? GTA San Andreas, right? Which was released in I guess in 2003. So these kind of programs which are a bit older are based on 32-bit. Okay, and the trending software which are currently running, like the games which are Valorant, and then even the virtual box, the VMware workstation which we use, they are based on 64-bit. Okay, got the difference between this? What are the actual difference of the programs, right? So now in 32 bit in 32 bit we use the registers called as EAX. So every register is starting with E alphabet. If you all have a notice on it, in 32 bit registers we see every register the prefix will be E. It can be anything, it will be going to start with E till this. Yeah, but in 64 bit the address segment will the prefix will going to start with R, if you all note, but next part will be going to remain same. Okay, so this is a trick which you need to learn. Okay, so RAX, which is in 32 bit called as EAX, then RPX to EBX, then ECX, then RCX. So this will remain same, only only this will going to change. Okay, got it. We'll talk about these registers in some other part. Okay, but today we're going to just focus on these registers for now. समझ आ गया टॉपिक? Got it? ठीक है. So now, can anyone tell me, by looking at this code, that what is the architecture, like ये जो प्रोग्राम है ये कौन से इसमें, इज इट इन 32-bit मोड और 64-bit मोड? Just tell me by looking at this code, this assembly code. Just tell me, is it in 32-bit mode or 64-bit? Just tell me. Now I'll have showed you all this, what are the difference over here of 32-bit and 64-bit. Now by looking at this code, just tell me, is it in 32-bit mode or 64-bit mode, this program, by looking at the registers. Yeah, perfectly correct. So the reason it is in 64, because we can see the register starting with R prefix, 64-bit, right? So we can make it out that these are 64-bit. Okay, yeah, and even in 64-bit processes we can use 32-bit registers also. For an example, we have used over here, we can see some segments over here, right? Yeah, So just to be in this part, I'm telling you, whenever we create a program in 64-bit or 64-bit architecture, we can also embed some 32-bit registers also, because it is a part of it. It is a half part of it. Okay. But in 32-bit, while programming a 32-bit process, we cannot use 64-bit registers because memory segment is limited only to 32-bit. Okay. Now coming to the main part. Now we're going to get the actual password of it. Okay. Now we can see a call to printf. When we see a call to printf over here, we'll try to just skip this part, okay, step by step, and I'll explain this part in the decompiling mode, in which we're going to do some static analysis on this particular file. Okay, is that clear? Okay. Now over here, I'll just try to split this terminal, okay, over here, and then I'll just try to run this. So now we can see a prompt right over here, enter password, the string which has been prompted over here in the console line. I'll just zoom it, okay. So we can see this enter password, right? So this password, the enter password string is been called from the printf function, okay, from over here. So we can denote that this call is been going to printf function, and the string which is loaded is the enter password. So now we are not interested in this string and all. Now if you enter some particular stuffs over here, like this, like for an example a small password, and if you hit enter, it says failed. But we are interested between what happened between this line of code and this line of code to find the actual password. Okay. Now the first call has been made, call printf to enter the password. So we are not interested over here. Okay. So now we jump over here, and we see something similar to it, which is called as scanf. So if you are familiar with C programming, the scanf takes the input. So basically this takes the input of the user password. So this password will be going inside into the memory of that particular scanf call. Okay. But after scanf call, there is a CMP instruction. So now I'll tell you what is the CMP instruction. Okay. So if we see over here, so it lets you compare two values, for an example, to test if two values are equal or if value is less than or greater than a specific number. Okay. So in short, it compares whether both the values are equal or not. It is as same as like if else loop in C programming. Okay. Yeah, for scanf we use input, yeah, correct. Now for compare instruction is used to compare two components. Okay. For an example, you can take over here. So now what is compare instruction over here? Compare. Okay. So it will going to compare two sets of addresses. The first one will be, yeah, correct, it's like almost double equals to, which is called as a comparison operator in C programming. So it compares two values. So some data will be over here. So like for example hello, and over here it's hello. So if this is equal, it will going to set some registers to true or false, or maybe a zero flag register maybe. So depending upon that, it continues the execution flow of code. So now in our case, we need to find the actual password, right? So in our case, what will be the thing is that over here will be our input. So at one proper segment, there will be the our input. So the thing what we entered right over here, like for an example, we entered over here some stuff called as 872311. So that will so that input will be going to store and come at the part of this address, memory address. Okay. And the other part will going to contain the actual password. So other part will be going to contain the actual word. Call command is like printing output. No, basically the call command which in which we can say that एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ मैं आपको. Will stay on hold. Okay. So call command is basically calling another function into memory. So in memory there are many functions. Okay, like there is a main function, scanf function, printf function. So so the call will be going to a printf function. So printf is also a function in a memory. Okay, so it depends upon what you call. So call can be anything. The call can be go to exit function as well as input function as well. So it is not like as such that we are only calling the printf and all. Okay, the call can be go to any part of the code. So call is basically like I'm calling to a particular memory segment and all. Okay, that's the difference actually. It is basically an instruction in assembly. It is not like printing, but yeah, we can call to printf, we can call to scanf, and we can also call to exit and all. Is that clear? Safe, secure, audit. Call can be like made to any part of the code. Clear है bro? Okay. So now we were discussing about yeah, correct. So now we were discussing about this, right? Okay. So now the comparison will be happen between the two sets of outputs, right? The actual input and the actual password. So now before that we need to learn some basic syntax of how we write some instructions in memory. Okay, so we need to learn some of the basic sets over here. Just a second, I'll just clean this. Okay, so now whenever we write something, okay, into assembly, I'll show you some basic stuffs. Okay, so now there is an instruction called as move instruction. Move. Okay, and there are, and the syntax is like this way. So this is basically the comma. Okay, so this is comma. So move. So now what move will do? It will move the contents of EBX register into EAX register. So now assume in EBX we are having 10 value. Okay, just make this small e. Okay, over here. Okay. In EBX we are having 10 value, and in EAX we are having problem with mouse. Okay, and in EAX we are having the value of 20. Okay, now what instruction move does? So move will going to take the value of EBX register, the value of EBX register, and move that content into an EAX register. So what will EAX will store? EBX is 10 and EAX is 20. So what will EBX will do? The thing the move instruction will do is that it will directly store the 10 value into EAX. So 20 value will be vanished off and the 10 value will be stored it into EAX. So these are some basic stuffs which you need to know while learning some basics of assembly instructions. Got it? So this is just for an move instruction. Okay? Got what does move does over here? Come on guys in comment section just tell me. Did you all got? Yeah. J- Okay, good. You got it. Now, this was just only a move instruction. Okay. So now there are some other sets of instruction. For an example, add. Add. So now I'll give you all one example. Okay. So add EAX, EX, and that assume that I have EBX value as 10, again 10, and EAX value as 20. Now what will be the total outcome if I do add EAX comma EBX? Can anyone do a guess? So over here what will going to happen is that, so now what is the current value of EBX into memory? So it is 10, right? So it will going to move 10 into EAX and check what is the content in the EAX. So in EAX we are having 20, right? So it will do 10, yeah, 10 plus 20, 30, and it will going to store the 30 value into EAX at the final point. Okay, so it will going to store result it into EAX. But in programming, what we thought was sum is equal to a plus b. Okay, that was thought as in programming, the high level programming, right? The C, Python and all. But in assembly we store the sum of a plus b, in which we can say the EX, add EBX will going to store it into EX only. So this is how the data storing works. So this is the source part and this is the destination part. So this is the source content from where we get the values, and this is the destination part where we store the values, and this is the instruction depending upon the instruction. For example, if move was there, it will going to move 10 value into 20, means it will just going to move and it will going to remove the 20 because it was the move instruction. But in add instruction what we do is that we add that value into other register so that the total outcome is the particular value which is 30 depending upon the instruction. Got it? So this part is called as source and this part is called as destination. समझ आया? Okay, so now we'll going to jump for other set of instruction which is jump instruction, or we can say the compare instruction. Okay, don't worry, I'll provide you with some binaries and we're going to solve one CTF also maybe. Okay, now in our case there is an instruction for us which is called as CMP instruction. So as I discussed earlier, the CMP instruction will going to compare the two parts of values, the source part, the destination part. So compare is like same as if else loop. Okay, if one double equals to 1, so if 1 equals to 1 then we print as success and else we go to failed, which is not possible because I've hard coded the value into memory. Okay, now the compare instruction works as same as this way only. Okay, now the first part will be some address in which we're going to need to compare. So this will be the password which I had inputted, right? And this part will be the hard coded password which I have hard coded it into the program's memory. So what the thing is that over here we are trying to compare both of them, and if the both are equal, that means the input password is as equal to hard coded password, and then we try to jump on the message called as success, and we get the flag, right? And then we get a flag like a CTF flag. Similarly, so the main concept over here is that we need to get this hard coded password. What is the actual password over here? We don't bother about the input, okay? We don't bother about the input like what we give. We bother about what is it comparing to it. Like in if statement, like what it is comparing to it. Okay, so we'll going to take that particular value and de-encrypt it to the password, and then we're going to jump it. Got till here? Then just tell me in comment section. Got it? Yep. Okay. Now there are some other points which we need to know in the terms of reverse engineering and while using the GDV. Are you all aware about breakpoints? I don't think so. You all be aware because breakpoint is a term which we can. Okay. So now we're going to learn the term called as breakpoints. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'll explain it. I'll explain it. Okay. Okay. So there is a term called as breakpoint. Breakpoints. Okay. So what are breakpoints actually? So now before now we have discussed that about the compare instruction, right? So whenever the execution of the program reaches to this particular instruction, right? So whenever the program execution reaches to this particular instruction, we need to halt or we need to put a break on that instruction so that we can examine the contents of this register and this register and retrieve the actual password. Got it? So breakpoint is nothing but a break into a memory segment, or we can say a speed breaker, in which we get the actual and we hit the breakpoint and we slow down the instruction, or we can say we can stop the instruction till compare instruction, so that we can examine the real values of that particular register and retrieve the password. Got it? So we can add breakpoint anywhere we want. Like if I want to add a breakpoint at 58 address or 126 address. Okay. So these are just the breakpoints which are used. Got it? What are breakpoints? They are nothing much. They are just breaks into the memory segments or the memory instruction where we want to hit it. Okay. So now just tell me where would we put the breakpoint? At the compare instruction, because we need to check, right, what contents is there into EAX and dword ptr rpp minus 0xc. Yes, perfect. So we're going to hit the breakpoint at this memory address. Okay. So now if you want, I'll share after this stream, I'm going to share some cheat codes, or we can say some cheat sheet of about breakpoints or the commands which we used over here. Okay. So for there is a command called as breakpoint b. So now we after typing b, we put a space. After that we add the name of the function. So what is the name of the function over here? It's the main function, right? So we add the main, and then we add the plus sign over here. Okay. So at which instruction we need to put a breakpoint at 84. Okay. So we hit. So we type 84. And before main, I forgot to tell you, it was the star sign which we use. So this is the syntax: b space star main, the name of the function, plus 84 means I want to hit a breakpoint at this address. Okay. In this way, so this is the syntax of an breakpoint. How we add the breakpoint into memory. So if I hit enter, we can see breakpoint 1 at 0x1 FFT. So in this way we can see the contents, like we can see the actual 1 FFD. So 1 FFD is the memory address into memory. At this address we had a breakpoint. Now we have just added the breakpoint. Now the main thing comes is that now we need to run the program, right? We need to run the program now, so that it will going to hit the breakpoint over here and we can see the instructions, right? So I'll press R to run, or you can even type run. Short form is R, okay? Enter R. Now we can see enter password string. So now now assume that we don't know, and actually we don't know also. So we'll add six, 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Sorry, 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 4. Okay, and if we hit enter over here, we can see. Did you see, guys? Breakpoint 1 at memory address this hit it up, right? So now the main things comes. So the main thing comes. So what we'll do is that we'll do again in. So we'll do, there is a command called as info registers. So this command will going to display all the content of the registers during current execution. Matlab, like we can say during this, now the breakpoint has been hit it at this instruction. So all the possible, so all the values which are present in the set of the register will be going to be displayed using the info register command. Right. So can you all see something over here? RAX. Can you all see something over here? So now what is this? Can you all just correlate by looking at this code? Compare instruction EAX means also RAX. So EAX is also termed as RAX. It's just a difference of 32-bit and 64-bit. So in EAX, the actual address, the actual password will be not stored. The input which you have taken will be stored it into EAC. Perfect. It will be going to store it into EAX. So in this way, it is also called as RAX, in which we can see the password which we have added is at address over here. So this is the password which we have inputted, as you can see over here. Now we know that EAX is containing the password, right? But of what part it is containing? It is containing the password which we have inputted. But now we want the actual password for which it is comparing. So we can see over here there is a there is a instruction over here called as dword ptr braces rbp minus 0xc. So what this syntax shows up? So this shows up dereferencing a pointer of size dword at this memory address. This is nothing big, guys. Okay, so it is so currently you can think that the actual password is stored at rbp register minus 0xc segment. So RBP, so any value which is containing RBP minus 0xc. So now what is 0xc? So this is actually the address, or we can say the offset from RBP where the password is stored. And 0xc is in hex format. Okay, so in integer we can say, like, I guess 0x, what is it, c, right? So in decimal it is 12. So RBP minus 12 will going to give us the actual password over here. Okay, so in this case what we're going to do is that we're going to see the RBP value. So in RBP we can see some stack pointers, values and addresses over here, right? I hope we can do like this, x/x RBP minus 0xc, which is the 12 segment. And can we see something over here? We have got some value over here. I'll show you what it does. So we got that at this address we are having a password, right? RBP minus 0xc, right? So now we know that the password is at this particular address. So what we do is that we take one instruction called as x/x, stating that x stands for examine slash and after slash we provide in which format we want. So I wanted in the format of in the format of hex, or we can say hexadecimal. So I've stated is that x slash x dollar $RBB minus 0xc. So I've got the password in the hex format. So now to convert back it to integer, you can just type integer. Yes, I can paste it and then hit enter. So this is the actual password 6789. Okay, now if I do exit this Python and if I run this 6789 and we get okay, x slash s, we can say that it will going to examine at that particular instruction in the format of string. Okay, so if the password was in like can you catch me or particular string value, right? So we can use that as for string representation. Okay, if it was in string, so basically maybe this may be a unicode format maybe. Okay, and there are many other stuffs. Okay, like for at this instruction we can specify it into instruction set. Okay, this can be happened over here, and then and there are many other stuffs, but to represent it into hex we use x over here. Okay. Okay, so in this way I have got the value of that. So now if I want to specify some more instruction over here, then I can put 10 20. Okay, but that will be a big case for y'all. So currently you all just think that x stands for examine, slash is just for the reference to another command, and in the next command we can specify in which format we want, whether we want it into string, integer, float, character, anything stuffs and all. Okay, so I want it in this format. Okay, so and then we get it over here, the actual password password as into a hex format over here. We get it, and then we convert it back to integer. Okay, I think conversion is very easy. You take a Python interpreter or any other stuff, or even you all can do it manually, but yeah, obviously not doing manually. And then we can paste it into interpreter, and then it will going to automatically interpret that value to the particular value which we want. Okay, so it is 6789. Okay, and that we here enter it over here and we got success, saying that we successfully cracked the crack me, or we can say a particular CTF challenge. So this is a very basics one. Okay, for that you all need to learn the assembly instructions, or we can say the instructions which are useful over here. Architecture flow also you all need to learn. Any questions open to answer? Anyone? Somebody, thank you, thank you. Okay, bro. Yeah. Just do one thing. Are you there in our WhatsApp group? Save Secure Audit. Are you there? Yeah. Then you can just. Yeah. Yeah. Just, yeah. I'll just show it. Okay. Let me just try the challenge which one guy in the is telling me to show. Okay. Maybe we can try this. Yeah. Okay. So I just want to know whether the flag format is in like a readable flag format. I hope so. Okay, just a second. Give me. I'll just download the challenge. Okay, over here. Challenge 1.exe. Okay. I'm getting it. I'm getting it. Some issues for dragging and dropping over here. I'll drop it. I'll drag and drop the challenge in this directory. Okay, just a second. I'll open Python server over here on my host machine, and then I'll pull back into my virtual machine over here. Python 3 -n http dot server @0 and then we go over here. Search for chall 1.exe. Pull it down. Okay. So I'll explain you right now like what how we can do it in Gizro. Okay. Before that, let me solve his challenge which he provided to me. Okay, right. Now I'll tell you. Not this terminal, bro. New. It is in downloads, right? Okay. Now we can see. Okay, it is in Windows.exe. Is it in Windows? Okay, fine. Okay, I'll try to do it. Explain his challenge also. Okay, fine, yeah. One person who provided me a challenge called a challenge 1.exe. So now, doing before further analysis, there is a utility in Linux called as strings. Okay, so this will going to list all the strings which are present into that particular file. Okay, so this will help us to know in which language it is written, or some hints will get like how the program is been made. And if we hit enter, we see something stuffs related to Python, right? And you know, notice that Python 312.dll, import, lib metadata collections, email, calendar, context libs, right? So in this way, I can state that this particular exe is written into Python language, and it is converted to exe using PyInstaller. So anyone heard about the PyInstaller? So PyInstaller is a utility in a Python in which we convert .py code back to the actual .exe, we can say. Okay, so we're going to try to decompile this code. Okay, so my methodology will be very different again over here. So there is a website called as PyInstaller decompiler, and if you go at this over here, we need to specify the file which we got over here. Okay, right? So I'm going to browse it, and it's in my downloads folder, the challenge 1.exe. Select it, then we click it on process. Okay, it will going to decompile the whole challenge. Okay, so basically it will going to decompile whatever the files which were used while decompiling it. So now we got the extracted zip format in which we can see all the files have been extracted. But there is one more layer called as pyc. So pyc are also Python interpreted files which can be also further decompiled using pyc decompiler. Okay, online. So before that, I'll go into my this and just try to extract this, and then we can see extracted files over here. So now the main thing is that we need to extract this challenge PYC. So this is the actual source code. I can make it out because by looking at the at all the files, I can see the challenge named over here because the actual name of the file was challenge only. Okay, so we need to decompile this file, the actual file. Okay, over here. Let's see. Go to the first link, bilingual, which is an PIC decompiler over here. Accept this, not usable, and then we can just browse for files and click go to downloads and click the challenge.pyc, select it, and it will going to decompile the file. Okay, and now if you see over here, we have got some sort of source code also over here. Okay, I think this might maybe some sort of encryption maybe. So we have got the key over here. This is key I helped I1HLWPD. Okay, so this is basically the key which he used over here. Okay, let's read the description what he provided to me. The developer believes that his code is now secure, easy write, or yeah, we can obviously do that ChatGPT, but I'm trying to do it with my like I'm trying to calculate all the possibilities what can be the result. Okay, enter the flag validate the challenge hex flag. So now I can just copy this. Okay, maybe, and then go to. So there is a website called as Cyber Chef. Okay, you all might be knowing it very well. Just paste it over here, and then I can state that this is some sort of encryption which he used over here. And this might be the key. I can just try like various combinations. Okay, maybe Zor, I guess, not possible, but yeah, F8. So no, it is not also in that. We can try other stuffs like ROT 13. No, ROT 13 we try to some sort of or not this one. Then can just try it with some other stuffs. Okay, uh, with the stuffs which I need to learn. Let's try with some other stuffs. This can be like a sort of encryption which he used to de-encrypt. Like it can be Zor cipher also maybe. Most probably maybe Zor cipher. The key was in the UTF-8 format maybe. Yeah, okay, not. Yeah, so in this we can state that it can be encrypted into any sort of function, but in this source code we have successfully retrieved the actual source code of the binary, and further we can do analysis like in which format it has been encrypted. Okay, yeah, so you can further carry out this challenge maybe, or it might be using some sort of Zor cipher or substitution cipher maybe to do some stuffs. We can try that also maybe. uh, or BW. Yeah, we got the actual flag. Bro, we solved your challenge. You got it. It was a simple Zor. Got it. Like how we can try to do and find some methodology to address it. So first step is to analyze the binary in which format it is. If it is exe, then there are many, like we can say there are tons of possibilities that it is programmed or encoded or packed using various tools. So the first command is to do some sort of strings analysis to see like what are the contents. So using strings, I got to know that it was written in Python and all. Okay, and import libs and all. So I got it. It was packed using PyInstaller, and then I went on the website first called as PyInstaller decompiler online. I decompiled the file and then got the actual PYC file, decompiled that file and got the content of the particular file, and in this way we try to debug this whole source code. It's buddy, but it was not that god level, but yeah, it was a bit easy one for like at least a beginner challenge. It was. It's like hacking p files is very fun. It is fun and fun. So I guess we can end the session over here maybe. One guy who Soham was asking me about Gidra. Soham, we can continue that Gidra part tomorrow maybe, because tomorrow I'm also coming live with some more sets of we can say uh, Acmist challenges maybe which I've created from scratch. We can continue tomorrow, right? So any questions, right? Arey bro, thanks buddy, thanks, worth it. Then if you have liked this, then please make sure you subscribe to my channel, like the video and hit the bell notification. Before that, I'll show my reveal my face. I Thanks Pratham. Arey bhai, thanks bhai. So tomorrow we'll do with some stuffs related to Gidra. Okay. So tomorrow we'll do something which is based on static analysis. So today we have learned about the dynamic analysis, about using GDB. Tomorrow we'll learn using Gidra, IDA Pro, and we'll have the full basic. Thanks, level god again. Okay, thanks, buddy. Okay, yeah. Till then, done. Any questions? I need to grow this channel. The main important thing which I want to tell you is that this is my actually the first channel which I used to upload the videos, and the second channel which I've created, the expert one. That is my the actual channel. But thing is that I am not able to do some live sharing. Okay, like go live through that channel. So I'll fix that issue and come back live on that channel maybe, or we can still continue on this channel also. Okay, using Ubuntu should work. No, so I'm like there मतलब ऐसा कुछ खास नहीं है using Ubuntu or Kali. It is totally dependent upon you, which operating system which you like to use, you can use, but not Windows, because Windows is like very not that recommended. You can also use Kali is like a very good tool because it consists like even in Kali we get a pre-installed Gidra, the tool application we get it pre-installed, and even GDB and all. The reason I'm using Ubuntu is that like I like the vibe and the environment of that, so just my style to use. Yeah, you can use like anything dependent. I use just Ubuntu just because I like it and it's good. Okay, any other questions? Ramnux, Ramnux I have, but I'll be using it for malware analysis. Maybe there is something very long to come on this channel. If you all support me like this, okay. So let's pack up, right? We are done. So I'm ending the session, okay, guys. So till then, take care, bye bye, and please subscribe, like, share, do all the social media stuffs and all. Okay, I'll put some links and description and join my WhatsApp group. Okay, yeah, bye bye.